Since 1973, Tattoo Charlie's has been an established body modification studio in Kentucky, featuring world-renowned artists and piercers, currently with locations on Preston Highway and in Lexington, a staple point in the tattoo community. Learn more at tattoocharlies.com. Set up your appointment today at 7904 Preston Highway. Our tattoos are done while you wait. Hey, are y'all in a band? Do you need merch for shows? By now I'm sure you've seen all the Metal Forge patches that are available, along with many more. Well, the printer I use for those is UKR Patcher. Check them out on Facebook and Etsy. They do awesome custom work and for extremely affordable prices for any band budget. Check them out, UKR Patcher on Facebook and Etsy. Hey everyone, do you play tabletop games like D&D and Pathfinder? Well, hit up Eric at Imagination Studios. They do custom printing for all your minis for gameplay. Don't forget, they are a licensed Reaper, Artisan Guild, and Moored printer and dealer. Hit up ImaginationStudios502.com for more info. That's ImaginationStudios502.com. EMAGINATION Studios502.com.
Ashball presents Metal Fest 9, the Jeremy Wade No Cancer Fighting Weekend. 30 bands, 2 stages, 2 hellacious days. $15 per night or $25 for the weekend. Includes fishing and camping. Metal Fest 9, sponsored by Imperial Tattoos, the Bill TV Network, Dark Star TV, and Mike Taylor Sound. Hosted by Metal Forge Radio, with special guest, Cold Steel Rail, Shovelhead, Year of the Gun, 2-Pump Jump, Cross Joint, Overload, Juke Joint Revival, Fudge Knuckle, and SWP, Dustin Swaggart, Nightshade, Celestial Serpent, Nothing's Wrong, Hidden Solace, Call Me Monster, Devil Be My Judge, Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, Automalized Buried, E Flat, Until the Dead Walk, Creature of Exile, Eulogy and Blood, Bradshaw, Metal Fest 9 at the Boondocks Event Center, bringing havoc back to the farm. Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th. In Shepherdsville, Kentucky. For more information, check it out on Facebook, Metal Fest 9, the Jeremy Wade No Cancer Fighting Weekend.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now, let's get this show on the road. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. It is Friday, July 10th, and I'm your host, Mark Jackson. Holy shit, how are you all today? I am doing well. Just got some new ink over the last weekend. A long weekend for me. It was awesome. Check out the Facebook page if you want to see it. Today my guest is Rod Mack, Mr. Rodney Adams from E Flat, Louisville hooligan legends, you know, hell yes. A little bit of punk, metal, rap infusion from about the mid to late 90s here in the Louisville, Kentucky area. Total awesome dude, cryptozoologist. Hopefully you all will enjoy this, because I had a really good time. I actually got to meet in person, despite all of the COVID-19 stuff and everything. We were safe, that, you know, social distanced and everything like that. So, but it was an awesome time. look forward to seeing those guys in just about 2 weeks here at Metal Fest 9 in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. You heard the ad at the beginning of the show and at the ends of the show, and I talk about it in the interview with Rodney as well. So, thank you to the Patreon subscribers as usual. Thank you to all of the people who tune in each week and listen. The subscriptions have gone up quite a bit, and the listens have gone up quite a bit. I appreciate all of that, more than you all could know. But yeah, thank you all so much. I'm going to kind of keep it a little short here today. I'm just, living life, loving it, having fun, getting new ink, all that kind of stuff, and you all should too. Do it safely, though. I appreciate you guys. This is Dickhead Jerk by E-Flat. All right, I'm being joined outside here with Rod Mack from E Flat.
What's up, y'all?
Louisville's hooligan legend punk
Yep.
band.
Yeah, kind of a punk hip hop, whatever combo, and I guess I wouldn't even really call it hip hop, but more like punk rapcore, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you all for the first time in like 02 or 03.
Yeah.
And was just completely blown away with what I saw, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then actually later on, you know, playing more shows and stuff myself, being able to play shows with you guys,
Yeah.
and it being an awesome deal. But yeah, as of the last few years, you've all kind of went your own separate ways a little bit.
Yep.
You've kind of not necessarily disbanded, I guess, but you know, you only play a handful of shows a year.
Yeah, pretty much special request type shows, and you know, we decided that we did the original thing long enough, and you know, a lot of our, Todd and I and the drummer Stacy, you know, our kids are grown, but Tim Flaherty has just recently had a kid, so his boy's like 5, so he's experiencing the things that we already went through several years ago.
Definitely.
And it's definitely slows you down a little bit, you know, you get to raise children.
So give everybody out there in Metal Forge land a little bit of a rundown of, you know, what E Flat is.
Well, I guess E Flat originally was basically I'd been throwing the idea of crossing metal and rap to those same guys since about 91, 92, but they didn't really bite. You know, they were all doing other things. They didn't really feel it. And then sometime around 96, I ran into them again, and we threw the idea around and started jamming at the end of 96, and just kind of see what we came up with. Originally, Tim Flaherty was playing bass, and Todd on guitar. And then later on, we picked up Eric Otto from Inhuman and put him on bass, and that's the lineup we'll have right now. So it'll be Eric Otto, Tim Flaherty on guitar, and Todd on guitar as well. And Stacy Hindu on drums.
Nice.
So yeah, pretty much the original lineup for our big days. You know, when we were
the classic lineup, as people would refer to it as.
Yep.
Now, just to preface everything, and I know everybody just heard the track that I just played. It's not the same as, you know, the Corns and Limp Bizkits of the world,
right?
You know, so I think it's got, you know, a little bit more of, you know, the metal's there, but I think there's a little bit more of the punk aspect in there as well too.
Definitely, I was a huge Suicidal Tendencies fan. Big, of course, a lot of bands that influenced me, but Suicidal is probably one of my biggest. DRI, some of those bands.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, SOD.
Oh yeah.
And those guys were deeply rooted in my influence. And then, you know, guys like Run DMC and Body Count, of course. Ice-T Body Count was probably the sole reason I decided that I needed to do it.
Absolutely. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely, when Ice-T came out with Body Count, I'm like, that's it. It's time.
Because it's badass.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's still going strong.
It's gangsta metal.
Yeah. We played a show with Scarhead once, Danny Diablo. He called it thugcore, and that was the best fitting description I could think of.
That is, yeah.
Thugcore.
I could buy that.
It was like hardcore and gangster rap mixed together.
And, you know, for a band like them to be still going out and doing something, you know, 30 years later as well. Yeah, there was some dormancy periods for them as well, but, you know, to still be able to go out and do some stuff, that's awesome shit.
It is. So,
it's been a while since anything has probably been written or released from you guys. Because here we are in 2020, you know, taking limited shows, you know, you're at a just over 20-year career at this point.
Yeah.
So when you all would get together and write songs and stuff, how do you all do that? Explain the E-flat process to me.
Basically, I was never sometimes I would show up with lyrics already written. Other times they would show up with music already written, and I would just freestyle lyrics until I found something that I liked that fit.
Right.
And I was known for constantly changing my words during shows because I would never actually write them down until we went to the studio.
Nice.
So I had the same premise, and the lyrics were basically the same, but they always varied a little bit.
Right. So you're just working out the proper phrasing and exact message you want to.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, I would experiment with different stuff, change it around, and sometimes the final version of the studio was a lot different than what you had heard live.
Definitely.
But, That's when it became official, I guess.
Yes, and I agree with that too. I can toy with something as much as I want to live, but once it's in
stone.
Yeah, once it's on tape, it's there. It's set in. That's the way I intended that to be.
Yeah.
Granted, the critique factor comes in, and I'm just like, maybe I would have changed that if I.
Yeah. Right.
But then again, I'm too bullheaded to re-record anything.
Absolutely. Now,
like once it's done,
we did release a song for our 20th anniversary. So in '97, we put out a song called "Never Mind the Bullshit."
Yeah.
And we just dropped it out on the internet on YouTube and promoted it a little bit, and it never really officially went on an album or anything.
Nice. So, in the writing process, we all come up with goofy-ass titles for songs.
Yeah.
What's the most goofy or offensive working title you've ever had for a song?
We had a song on our first album. It was hidden on track 69, and it was called EYP, which stood for Eat Yo Pussy. And it was just a joke song, really. It ended up being really popular, and a lot of people, still to this day, will bring that song up.
Nice.
And it was something we thought kind of, just filler, messing around, kind of left over in the studio. And, those are the songs that you don't really expect to really blow up like they do sometimes.
Yeah, it's like Paranoid. It was probably written in 10 minutes, and it ends up becoming one of your all's most requested songs, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah. And to this day, people still bring that one up.
So, at Metal Fest, are you all going to be playing that?
We're not going to play that one. We are going to play a couple tracks off that first record, and we've actually got to teach the bass player how to play those, because he wasn't with us when we did those tracks.
Right.
So, one of the things is just getting him familiar with them, but we're going to play Dickhead Jerk off of that first record, which was a song I wrote about an individual that I didn't like, who used to date a girl that I was dating at the time.
I think every musician who is a lyricist has that same thing.
Yeah.
We all tend to do that. I do it all the time. I've totally written songs about,
about whatever's going on in your life.
Yeah.
And what was funny is I used the word bitch a lot in that, referring to a guy. And really his name was Mitch, but I didn't want to call him by his name, so I just called him bitch every time. And so
it just so happens to be that
it worked out pretty well.
Absolutely. Oh shit, see?
Yeah.
So it's a little inside joke at that point.
Right.
Which, pull back the curtain a little bit on that, which is cool.
Oh yeah.
So if you could have written a song or an album from somebody else, what would it be?
Let's see.
It's that thing where you're like, God, I wish I could have written that.
I'd have to say there's a couple of Suicidal Tendencies tracks that feel like something that I should have wrote, especially the ones off of the Lights Camera Revolution album. The song Breakdown always sounded like something I would have wrote.
You know what?
It was a lot like us.
You say that, and I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, we're going to do a medley at the show. It starts out with Suicidal Tendencies off the first record, a song called Subliminal.
Yeah.
And then we're going to break into part of You Can't Bring Me Down, and then jump into Bury Me in Smoke from Down.
Wow.
And then back into You Can't Bring Me Down to end it, so...
Dude, that's going to be killer. I can't wait
awesome.
to see that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones off of the Lights Camera Revolution's Lost Again.
Oh, yeah.
I just dig the...
Like that one, Alone, and...
That's a great
album.
album.
There's really not a bad track on there. Of course, you had Robert Trujillo on bass then.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's actually at the time when Ozzy stole him. He
Right.
stole him from an Infectious Groove session. They were in the same building together, and he said, "Hey, I want you to come play bass for us." So,
and that was that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'll never forget. That Metallica tour was that. It was Infectious Grooves and Metallica and like Danzig and stuff. Yeah. We're all playing that tour where they were outside all summer long that year in like '93.
Oh, so, yeah.
Crazy stuff.
It's good stuff.
So, what is the allure to music for you? Like, why are you a musician?
It's always been a almost like a driving force. Me being ADHD and a little bit, I guess, always having to do something. So, music was always one of those things that kept me going, and I was always singing and always doing songs. And there was no musicians in my immediate family, but I had the knack for it. So I was drawn to it. I remember started playing. My parents would ground me to my room, and I would go in there, and I had a little organ in there, and I would play all the keyboard tracks off of songs on the radio.
Oh, wow.
So it just kind of hooked me. That was probably age 10 or 11 then when I started doing that. And when hip-hop came out, I figured out how to scratch from Grandmaster Flash. And
really?
On the first record, I was actually the DJ and the singer.
Oh, wow.
Which was pretty rough, because I was actually queuing up vinyl records. I had marked my records with markers and things, so I knew where the spots were at.
That's
so
crazy.
I'd be queuing up a track live, and during the breaks, it was pretty complicated.
Oh, I guarantee it.
They got a lot easier nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Because everything, a lot of times they'll have the one track deal.
Yeah.
Where it's one track per vinyl,
right.
And makes it a little bit easier. Whoop,
oh yeah.
Kick the table, Mark. Do you listen to yourself musically?
I do. There's certain songs where I'll listen to it and it'll drive me nuts because I didn't like my voice that day.
Right.
Or we did one album when I was really sick and was pushing a cold, and it ended up sounding really raspy and cool. And I ended up on my next record after that ended up utilizing more of a lower tone.
Right.
On that record, and I got some criticism from Victory Records. The CEO of Victory Records didn't like my vocals. He said my voice was too high. So I purposely changed it to show him that I could do whatever I wanted.
Right.
And that's when we ended up, finding things where I started really tackling the hardcore screaming, and Because of You record.
Nice.
2001. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Anytime I think you can take a criticism that not everything has to be a negative.
Right.
With that.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of musicians if they take a criticism or receive a criticism from a record executive or something, well, they don't play, they just listen and stuff like that. And that's not always the case, because that could be always one of the things of where you could take that and say, all right, well, maybe let's try it a different way.
Oh yeah.
And then as you said, you ended up liking it a lot better.
Yeah, I ended up utilizing more of my lower range. And then in 2009, I had sinus adenoid tonsil surgery, which actually brought my voice down about a half an octave and made it where I could sing better.
Oh, wow.
And so our last official E-flat record that we did without Tim, because Tim was already fully in the Hot Action Cop at this point. The last two records he didn't participate, but I was able to actually go into vocal ranges that I was never able to go to before, because my voice actually changed after my surgery. And
Definitely.
It went lower.
Right,
so
right.
Gave me about a half octave in each direction.
And plus, naturally, as you get older anyways, your voice drops even lower as well. So
right, yeah.
That's why...
sometimes things just come out of left field, and I had to learn how to sing again.
Right.
Because my voice sounded different to me. And it actually was different. It was lower. So it was weird, but blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And, because it's like one of those things, and where you probably didn't get any of the criticism like James Hetfield would have got.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Having to relearn how to sing.
Yeah,
I could, it's hard to do already, to be a vocalist and then run into all of the hurdles that you have to jump through for that.
Yeah.
And then, having to relearn how to do your trade.
Just learning to sing, period. Like, when our first record, we would do back-to-back shows Friday and Saturday night, and by Saturday, I was losing my voice because I was pressing it all out my throat.
Right.
I didn't know how to use my diaphragm, so I had to teach myself the proper techniques to not harm my voice.
I completely get that.
Yeah.
I'll push it so hard at a practice one night where I will feel what I call roached out.
The crunch in your vocal cords.
And the throbbing of your vocal cords and stuff. I totally get that.
Absolutely.
So, you have some interest outside of music as well.
Yeah.
You are also a cryptozoologist.
Yeah.
A Bigfoot hunter. I don't know, do you do other things than Bigfoot? Because I know...
I pretty much will research anything paranormal. I've been into spirit stuff since it wasn't even cool. I was doing ghost hunts back in the early 2000s with VHS.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, before anybody was really doing it, and catching things on audio and going through all the weird stuff that happens when you go to a haunted site where all your batteries will die immediately.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
when you know that you've just charged them all up. Waverly Hospital did that to us. In 2000, I was in there with a VHS, Super 8.
Right.
And 2 brand new batteries, and both of them were dead within 5-10 minutes. It was like it just sucked the energy out of my batteries.
That's crazy.
And you could feel the power in that place. That place is most definitely haunted.
So what is the most interesting thing you've ever seen, paranormal wise?
I'd seen a full body apparition when I was young. Actually seen a couple throughout my lifetime, and those were pretty interesting. But I guess the full blown Sasquatch encounter, when I actually saw Sasquatch, which is the story I ended up telling on Travel Channel for the show These Woods Are Haunted.
Right.
And that was pretty much a life-changing event. You can't unsee that, and it's hard to really relay the feeling you get when you realize that something you always thought was maybe somewhat legend is actually real.
Right.
Cognitive dissonance is the term they use in psychology to explain how your mind tries to cope with something that goes against everything you've ever known.
Definitely.
So initially you go through phases of denial and try to give explanations for things that, because you can't come up with any other reason why it exists. So.
Right. So how much time do you spend doing that?
Doing that? Quite a bit. I used to do it for about the last 7 years. I was doing it pretty much all the time, after work.
Right, because I
during
remember
work.
seeing you doing stuff on Facebook where where you went down to like Rough River and and Cumberland and all that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So pretty much every chance I get, and of course now I bought a house, and the reason I bought the house was there was some Bigfoot activity there.
Really?
And when I looked at the house while it was vacant, somebody had drawn the face of Bigfoot up in my loft in one of the window panes with like some of that white frost stuff. And when I saw the face that they had drawn, I knew they saw it because they drew it properly.
Wow.
A lot of people will draw those things more like a gorilla because they don't really know that they don't look like that, but they actually look more human.
Right.
At least the one I saw did. Harriet and Henderson's is probably closer than anything, but a little meaner looking version of that.
Definitely.
So they were pretty dead on with
what they had done.
Yeah, it's kind of manly looking, and it looked like a very large man, no hair on his face, hair all over his body, very large flat nose, very pronounced brow, and a high head, and
like a crown.
Yeah, and but the more I research things, trying to give it a flesh and bone scientific explanation, the stranger things got. And I've changed my opinion on what I believe these things are, and I don't believe they're a missing link type creature. I believe they are paranormal.
Really?
There's something, they're able to do things that I can't really explain. Basically disappear almost at will. Super intelligent. I mean, they're only known when they want to be known.
Right.
They could sit in the shadows for months and you'd never know they were there. But,
interesting.
And it seems like only certain people they pick to communicate with. And I don't know if it's because they are picking up on a frequency of that you're a conduit for that type of activity or what. And I kind of think that might be it, and I've always been that way.
I've often thought that UFO activity was the same way, that it's
absolutely
yeah.
And in fact, I think they're all related at some point.
Right. Well, see, and that's been an argument on back into the music aspect of things.
Yeah.
Why people like Dave Murray and Adrian Smith and Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield, when they do harmonized stuff, and not look at each other, it's not necessarily because it's a practice thing, it's because it's a shared wavelength.
It's like a wavelength, absolutely. Yeah. I believe you tap into a force when you're really in a creative moment and it really kicks in. I don't really have to tell my other members how to pick this up. They just pick it up.
Right.
And then I adapt to what they're doing and am able to channel my things differently. But it's almost like it's like an unspoken communication, almost like a ESP type.
Right.
That you get, and when you spend a lot of time with people, I believe you connect on that level anyway.
Absolutely. And of course, some people they already experienced that out of the gate, which is interesting,
right?
Because it's like you've ever met somebody and completely known them, your entire lives.
One of the guys that's on the show, These Woods Are Haunted with Me, which originally was called Terror in the Woods on Destination America, and they moved it to Travel Channel and changed the name,
right?
And they flew me to Philadelphia to film the episode, and it was a really crazy flight. There was a nor'easter, what they call, storm sitting on the East Coast at the time. So we kept trying to land in Philadelphia, and they diverted my landing 3 times. It was some of the worst turbulence I've ever felt in my life, because the winds were coming straight at us 70 miles an hour down the Delaware River, because that was the edge of that nor'easter.
Oh, wow.
And it was so bad that I actually didn't know if I was going to make it off that flight. There was one time where I felt the plane drop over 100 feet. Just straight drop.
Like that. Wow.
Yeah, and so the third attempt, they diverted and took us to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we landed there and to wait the winds out. And as I'm sitting there talking to a guy, the guy overhears me, and he walks up and he says, "I'm also on the show. I'm here to do an interview as well, and my episode also happened in Red River Gorge."
Really?
So 2 of us didn't know anything about each other, had encounters within 6 miles on a map of each other.
Wow.
And I've been to visit him a couple of times this year. He's sitting on some kind of crazy paranormal conduit there. I mean, he has the full trifecta. He's got ghost activity, he's got Sasquatch activity, and he has UFO activity, all in his area, and all documented.
Wow.
And it's amazing.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like the actual, the thing that Ray Stantz says, and I don't mean to make, because it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of seriousness in the Ghostbuster thing.
Absolutely.
With where he says, the building is sitting at a cross point.
Absolutely.
A paranormal cross point.
Like a paranormal
tuning
what
fork.
I call a conduit.
Yeah.
Like a special, and which I believe Bill Stark's place is like that. He's sitting in the gorge, and the gorge is very highly magnetic anyway. There's a lot of iron ore in that ground.
Right.
But whatever's going on there, when I show up at his house and we sit together, and I guess we also feed off each other, but the hairs on my arm stand up when I'm in his presence, and the same thing happens to him. And he called me just a couple of days ago and said, "Ever since the last time you were here," he said, "you were right." I said, "Things are going to go apeshit when I leave." And they have. For 2 straight weeks, he's not really been able to sleep. He's had crazy activity every single night since I left his house.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you have done with your paranormal research where you've been on location and you've just had to say, "Okay, that's enough. I got to get the F out of here"?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And you just pack up the car and go straight home, and whether it be middle of the night, no matter what.
And that's something else that I attribute. That I think when I said that Sasquatch has powers that we don't understand. One of those powers, I believe, is the ability to influence the way you feel. And they could be using infrasound to do this. But there's times when I go in the woods and people describe it as being zapped. Basically, you lose all energy.
Right.
Sometimes you're disoriented. There's times where I've been in the woods and I know that felt great, had a good night's sleep, and I got so tired that I actually sat on the ground and fell asleep against a tree for about an hour.
Oh, wow.
Because I had no energy left in my body. And these are in areas where I have a lot of activity. Something's going on there that I'm not able to explain fully, but it's very fascinating.
Do you believe that with like the psionic like ability, is it something like that they're there we go kicking the table again?
It happens.
Yeah. Do you believe that it's something in the regard of somebody like a medium, like they have like a?
Yeah, in a way, and I always wonder if certain people that they pick are those type of people, because I am one. I'm basically an empath. I'm probably a medium. I just try to shut that part of me off because my wife is a medium as well.
Oh, okay.
And we sleep with the TV on at night, because if we don't, I don't sleep.
Understandable.
I have crazy vivid dreams and just tons of of things that keep me awake all night. And something's open in my mind that, and I almost feel like they know. Right? And I always felt like the reason why I've had Sasquatch activity happening since I was a kid, which for many years I didn't know what it was until I started to really research what was going on and realized that there was things that happened to me as early as age 7 that I can now say was probably the same type of Bigfoot activity. I just didn't know what it was.
Definitely.
Yeah, where I thought it was just people messing with me. But I'm in a place where there really shouldn't be any people.
Right.
And why would they be there messing with me and not let themselves be known and just disappear for no reason? You know, things of that nature. So,
is there anything that you wish to accomplish with cryptozoology?
You know, basically, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you know, I'm an expert," or I would say that I'm not even close to an expert, but I'm very familiar with behaviorisms and cause and effect and of why certain things and the signs that they may leave while they're there. And I've taught myself how to discover the signs and really understand what's going on. But I really just would like some answers. And I feel like the longer I research it, the weirder it gets and the more further from the truth that I actually find myself. So there's a lot of unknowns there.
Definitely.
You really can't. I haven't been able to lock down any certain thing and say this is why, or this is where they're at, because I've found that they can be almost anywhere. And they seem to like really heavily wooded areas. They seem to like things that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the country. Or as a kid, I always believed they were only on the West Coast. I didn't realize they've always been here. Yeah, everywhere.
Right.
And which makes you wonder, how are these things everywhere?
Right.
Is there another dimension that we don't know about that they're able to travel in through? It's a very good possibility. We don't really know much about any of that.
Definitely.
Other than theories.
Absolutely.
So I guess my goal is
to find out,
to get some answers.
Yeah.
And put it out there for people and say, if this is happening to you,
this might be why.
Give me a call. Maybe I can tell you what's going on.
Right. And of course, at the end of the episode and in the description and everything, we'll have links to everything.
Yeah.
So that anybody who has had any kind of experience or anything, they can get a hold of you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, because that's always something I've been more interested in, and just would like to get more in depth with.
Yeah.
Going forward in my life.
And I finally came to terms that for some reason I've been picked to receive these messages for most of my life, whether it be from the paranormal or from other cryptids. But I don't really know that they're not all connected in some way or form. And in fact, I found the show Hellier on Amazon Prime, which is really just kind of tied everything together for me. And those guys were drawn in. Initially, they were ghost hunter guys. They run the International Traveling Paranormal Museum out of Cincinnati.
Right.
And somebody emailed them and said, there's these creatures coming out of the mines in Kentucky, and they look like little naked children. And they thought it was a joke. They went and investigated it and never could find the guy that sent the email, never could figure out where he was at. But as they went to investigate this, they came across some other strange phenomena that were happening that was not really related, Bigfoot type activity and paranormal activity, all in these same hot spots. And it's like they kind of get drawn into this wormhole. You never know where you're going to end up. There's days where I'm out there recording Bigfoot sounds, and I'm picking up disembodied voices in the middle of the woods, and I have no idea why. But I have some audio of some really strange things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a night where I was convinced there was a bunch of little female children in the woods behind me laughing. To the point that I jumped up and went and looked around for the two females that were at the camp, and they were both asleep. So I had no explanation for why I heard a female voice at that time.
Wow.
So strange things happen. I don't know. It's a whole other dimension of weirdness when you get in there.
It is. But again, as I said, in the description below, we'll have some links up there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll put up my YouTube page and my email address, and I have a Squatchers page.
Definitely.
People they can get a hold of.
All right, so this is what I like to think is the fun part of the interview, because we got business out of the way. Now This is about Rodney.
Okay.
Right, Rod Mac, you know. Do you have a favorite film?
Let's see. Probably one of my top favorite films of all time has to be Return of the Living Dead. And I just don't know why. It was just, that film had it all. It had zombies, it had horror, it had comedy. It had a really good soundtrack.
Right.
And
it's on Hulu right now, because I was about to hit play on it earlier.
And it was in Louisville. Well, at least part of it. There was one scene filmed at Eastern Cemetery. Which I've also researched.
Well, that was the one scene that was filmed there, but
right at the gate, yeah.
Right, but it actually takes place in Louisville, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So.
And at the end, they blow up Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rest of it was filmed in L.A. on a soundstage. So.
Right. Of course it is. Do you have a favorite food?
Let's see. Favorite, I would have to say probably some really good fresh seafood. I like calamari, shrimp, fish. You know, I'm a big shellfish guy. Scallops.
Nice.
Any of that stuff.
I love shellfish.
Yeah.
Not too big on the calamari myself.
Yep. You got to have the right. It's got to be done right.
Yeah.
There's good calamari, and then there's rubber shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And finding the good calamari is the key.
Yeah, well, I mean, you also, 800-900 miles from the coast in one direction and 2,000 from the other, so it's kind of rough.
Some of the best calamari around here is actually Shogun. You get a calamari steak, hibachi style, and you can't even, if you didn't know it was calamari, you wouldn't know.
Nice. What is your greatest achievement as a musician?
I would have to say being able to actually tell everybody what I was going to do, and for years nobody believed me, and then doing it. Coming to fruition and saying, yeah, I'm a little white boy from J-Town, but I'm going to go make a rap record. And I did, and I had a record deal. That's before E-Flat. I started out as a hip-hop artist.
Right.
And was signed to Cellar Records, which was a Sony subsidiary in Chicago.
Really?
In 94.
Was that part of the time when Sony was signing up, the deal?
Imprint labels.
Yes. Just to claim a tax write-off on?
I think so, because we ended up getting shelved, and they never really released us properly.
That's believe it or not, most people don't know this, but I'm a huge Motorhead fan.
Oh yeah, yeah, me too.
And no, everybody knows that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I just got the ink on my arm to prove it.
Are you in the Motorhead group that my buddy Ramsey Tolls in? You probably know Ramsey.
I don't know.
He's got a nice Motorhead page on Facebook.
Really? Yeah. I'll have to look it up for sure. But they were signed to WTG, which is a Sony subsidiary, and did the same thing to them, where they basically were just there to be a tax write-off.
Yeah.
So they could claim the loss on their taxes.
Well, that was the late 80s, early 90s phase of their career, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Four-person Motorhead.
Yeah. Which some of their best music actually came out during that phase.
Orgasmatron. That wasn't one of them.
It was after that.
1916. Yeah, 1916 was one of them.
That song, I'm in Love with Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorites. I think it's on that record, isn't it?
That's on Rock and Roll.
Yeah, that's on Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And there's, what is the one on, there's one really killer song on 1916 that I just always turn up when I hear it.
One to Sing the Blues is always really good.
That one's pretty good.
Ramones.
Yep.
Yeah. Ramones is on that album.
Yeah, there's a couple of those records. Those tracks that they did that are just, they were really good music.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We all have Spinal Tap moments.
Yeah.
In our musical careers, and most of us in life,
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have a distinct Spinal Tap moment that you would like to tell everybody out in Metal Forge land?
Well, let's see. What do you mean Spinal Tap moments? Do you mean like just really stupid, retarded humor? Or?
Yeah, the stuff that, you just say, this cannot be fucking happening.
Yeah, well, there's been quite a few. When we opened it for Kid Rock at the Toy Tiger, I actually had in my possession a couple of Kid Rock albums that were only released in very limited quantity.
Right.
One of them was called the Polyfuse Method, which most of those tracks he ended up redoing on History of Rock, but changed them. But Kid Rock wanted that record so bad he tried to steal it from me. So
he didn't even have it?
No, he didn't even have a copy himself. I had to sing Kenny Olsen from Twisted Brown Trucker on the bus to get it back for me.
Oh my gosh.
And Kid Rock was like, my bad, dude. And he was like, dude, I was going to keep it. And he told me, it's like, dude, I ain't even got a copy of that. So I ended up making him a copy of it. And, but, yeah, I mean, Kid Rock didn't, when he played in Louisville, he was already big, but not here. And we showed up with a couple hundred people, and he showed up with really no fan base. They didn't advertise him properly. He made $200 to play that gig at the Tiger.
Oh, my gosh.
In fact, he'll still talk about it today in interviews and was so pissed off about it. But we ended up having the time of our life in the party in the Ramada Inn across the street for like the next day and a half.
Nice. the Tiger,
oh,
Louisville
man.
landmark.
Oh, man.
Might as well shout out to Trey for that.
Absolutely. And well, actually, weirdly enough, the guy that put us on that bill with Spotlight was Billy Hardison.
Oh, gosh.
He put us
shout
on,
out to Billy.
yeah.
I've worked with Billy several times.
I love Billy, man. He
yeah.
really done. He really, that was our breaking moment. You know, that's what really put us on the map. And Todd's ex-wife at the time knew him pretty well and said, hey, you need to check these guys out. They're about the only band in town that's going to fit Kid Rock.
Right.
And we absolutely probably were at that time.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Because you're talking, that was probably...
That was 98.
Yeah, Devil Without a Cause era for
Yep.
Kid Rock. And
Yep.
yeah, you all probably would have been the only game in town for that.
And I still remember Uncle Cracker at the time was his DJ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
and he
absolutely.
was just called Cracker then. And Cracker was amazed because that's when I had my one Technic 1200 and I was queuing up songs during the breaks. And he's like, how in the fuck are you pulling this off? I said, man, it's a lot of practice. He said, you're not even using a 1200. It's like an off-brand technique, like a lower model.
Right. Well, I mean, you got to work. That's the thing, It's not about the quality of instrument or anything like that.
It's about learning your instrument.
It's about learning it and how you do it. Anybody who does anything is going to find the way that fits them.
Oh, yeah.
And, you could play an absolute dog shit sounding bass guitar or an absolute shit sounding amp. But if you make that for you,
oh yeah,
and you get that to the specs that fit you,
absolutely,
it's golden at that point.
And one of the things, the fights I always have with other musicians is a lot of us they're really good musicians, way better than I am. Is musicians get stuck in a realm where they want to make very complicated music. The only problem is the only people that appreciate it are other really good musicians.
Right.
So a lot of people forget that simple is sometimes way better. It's really all about a catchy hook and repetition and a groove. I mean, if you got a groove and a catchy hook and you can divide that factor by 3, you're looking at a hit song.
Definitely. That is 100% right.
Yeah.
Every stretch of the word.
Yeah.
I will say that.
There's mathematics involved. 3s. All the magic songs are divisible by 3. Their timing, everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
And it even goes back to like Tesla and some other things that he said that 3 was pretty much the divine number that really made everything.
Definitely. This is the morbid question.
Yeah.
I like to hear people's answers to this.
All right.
If heaven or hell exists, what do you want to hear when you arrive where you think you're going?
Let's see. I would say I probably want to hear, there's a couple of times. If I was going to heaven, I would think it would be like, possibly a Stairway to Heaven track, because I always pictured that as. But that song also has the other dark undertones. But
very much.
I'd say if I was going to hell, it would still probably have to be the classic Highway to Hell by AC/DC.
Absolutely.
Because I always felt like that's what I was on. And when I heard that song, I just kind of jumped on board and went driving.
Right. And that's when you kick. It's when the lights go out.
Yep.
And then you kick open the door, and that's what you hear. Bam.
Absolutely. Dun-dun, dun-dun. I'm going to go out in style.
Well, hell yeah. I think we all.
Of course, Bon Scott is the only singer of AC/DC. Brian Johnson was just a fill-in. I liked Brian's first 2 records.
I like some of the stuff that Brian does.
First 2 or 3 records, I liked.
Definitely. Not too, as being a horror movie fan, not too big. And still not too big on Who Made Who.
No, I did like a few tracks. I liked the fact that I could listen to AC/DC the whole time I was watching the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And that's still probably one of my favorite Stephen King movies.
Definitely. So, Rodney...
I was going to do that maybe tonight or tomorrow, see what's going on with it. Yeah.
I'll get a good cut point. Hang on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So, Rodney, tell everybody out there how we can get a hold of you for the Cryptozoology and E-Flat. How can people hear more E-Flat?
I never thought of that.
We're on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com, and I think it's /E-Flat Rocks probably. Anyway, if you look up E-Flat, Louisville, Kentucky on SoundCloud, you'll find us.
Definitely.
If you want to find me in particular, I'm on YouTube under Rodney Adams. And my email is rodneyizcool with a Z. rodneyizcool@gmail. You can find me under YouTube that way and under anything
Awesome.
Google related.
Awesome. So you're getting back together, Metal Fest 9, July 24th and 25th.
Yep.
At the Boondocks Event Center in Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Yep.
Are y'all playing on Saturday?
We're playing on Saturday. We go on like right at dark, so we got about the best spot you can get, 8:40 to about 9:10.
There you
Give
go.
or take a few.
And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys there.
Yep.
And everybody needs to stay tuned on the Metal Forge, because within the next 2 shows, I will be giving away a pair of free tickets.
And you
for
guys
that.
don't want to miss this. There is no events going on like this summer. Because
Hell no.
due to the state of affairs, you're not going to get 38 bands on a bill. So
Right.
come out. Even if you don't like all the bands, you will like 1 or 2 of them. I guarantee it.
I'll call
Definitely.
you later. Yeah.
And you will be able to wear your PPE and all your safety stuff, sanitize, all
That's
that.
right,
There's
yeah.
it's $15 for the each day, or $25 for the
Or
weekend.
$25 for the weekend.
And you can camp, BYOB, and have an awesome time. Rodney, sir,
Yeah.
I love you, man. Thank you. I
Mark,
appreciate
thank you,
meeting up
man.
with you.
I'm real glad you
And
reached out to me.
Definitely, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys live.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see you there.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
And you guys either. Make sure you guys come find me if you come out.
Definitely. Hey, and come find me as well, because I'm going to have a booth set up where you're going to be getting some Metal Forge keychains and some patches and some other
yeah.
band merch like Surviving Thalia, Overload,
yeah.
all that stuff.
Surviving Thalia.
So come on out. Have a good time.
Love those guys.
Definitely.
Mike Taylor. I love
Absolutely.
Mike. Tired of hearing all the bitching and complaining. Trying to keep from drowning but barely maintain. I need a break for a minute. Won't you people just quit? It's stupid. Never mind the bullshit. Never mind the bullshit. Come on. Never mind the bullshit. Never mind the bullshit. Rich are getting richer, the poor keep dying. Politicians are the same, and they'll never stop lying. If you don't like what they're saying, then you don't have to listen. Spare me, please, with your moaning and pissing. I really don't care what you think of my opinion. To me, you're just a loser and a hopeless little minion. Can't force me to change it. Quit acting like a twit. I'm screaming it loud. Never mind the bullshit. Can you people just quit? Always throwing a fit. Hide behind the keyboard, posting that crap. Catch me outside, punk, how about that? You put your foot in your mouth, always acting like a shit. Wanna be legit? Never mind the bullshit. Never mind the bullshit. Stupid sit together, the groups of like-minded, hopeless hordes, not knowing they're blinded. Chanting rags and psychobabbling crap. I'd like to hit them in the face with an open hand slap. You disagree, and that's quite alright. No need to keep pushing me until I fight. My life is mine, I don't care if you approve. But back me in the corner, it's a stupid bitch move. Can't you people just quit? Always throwing a fit. Constantly post politics and religion can't change my mind. I make my own damn decisions. Start World War III, global warming, flat planet. I've had enough of this. Never mind the bullshit. Man, I'm so sick of these people. I just want to slap somebody in the face.
Since 1973, Tattoo Charlie's has been an established body modification studio in Kentucky, featuring world-renowned artists and piercers, currently with locations on Preston Highway and in Lexington, a staple point in the tattoo community. Learn more at tattoocharlies.com. Set up your appointment today at 7904 Preston Highway. Our tattoos are done while you wait.
Hey, are y'all in a band? Do you need merch for shows? By now I'm sure you've seen all the Metal Forge patches that are available, along with many more. Well, the printer I use for those is UKR Patcher. Check them out on Facebook and Etsy. They do awesome custom work and for extremely affordable prices for any band budget. Check them out, UKR Patcher on Facebook and Etsy. Hey everyone, do you play tabletop games like D&D and Pathfinder? Well, hit up Eric at Imagination Studios. They do custom printing for all your minis for gameplay. Don't forget, they are a licensed Reaper, Artisan Guild, and Moored printer and dealer. Hit up ImaginationStudios502.com for more info. That's ImaginationStudios502.com. EMAGINATION Studios502.com.
Ashball presents Metal Fest 9, the Jeremy Wade No Cancer Fighting Weekend. 30 bands, 2 stages, 2 hellacious days. $15 per night or $25 for the weekend. Includes fishing and camping. Metal Fest 9, sponsored by Imperial Tattoos, the Bill TV Network, Dark Star TV, and Mike Taylor Sound. Hosted by Metal Forge Radio, with special guest, Cold Steel Rail, Shovelhead, Year of the Gun, 2-Pump Jump, Cross Joint, Overload, Juke Joint Revival, Fudge Knuckle, and SWP, Dustin Swaggart, Nightshade, Celestial Serpent, Nothing's Wrong, Hidden Solace, Call Me Monster, Devil Be My Judge, Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, Automalized Buried, E Flat, Until the Dead Walk, Creature of Exile, Eulogy of Blood, Bradshaw, Metal Fest 9 at the Boondocks Event Center, bringing havoc back to the farm. Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th. In Shepherdsville, Kentucky. For more information, check it out on Facebook, Metal Fest 9, the Jeremy Wade No Cancer Fighting Weekend.